How many of you remember a little book called True Allegiance? Aha! Here is the twist. I am not going to read from True Allegiance, but I'm going to read from a book.
Patience! We'll get to it. We'll get back to it.
In the same genre, and by no means anywhere. It's even better than True Allegiance. And I'm going to say, are you familiar with the author of this work of fiction? A little guy by the name of Kurt Schlichter.
He is having sex with his hot wife right now.
Kurt Schlichter, for those of you who aren't aware, is a really spectacular online shithead. He's a sort of wannabe conservative army man. He makes a lot out of his time in the JAG Corps during Bosnia in the 90s, I think.
That was the shit, man. Come on.
Felix, how would you describe Kurt?
Kurt is, he got paper cuts for us in Bosnia, fighting for our freedom. And his main thing now is anytime anyone says anything to him, he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm having sex with my hot wife, which is a regular occurrence for me. But he capitalizes hot wife. And
so
if you're regular like me, you know that hot wife, when it's capitalized, is a term in the cuckolding community.
Anybody who would disparage Kurt's service in the military has clearly never had Bosnian food. It's disgusting.
Now, I brought up True Allegiance because this novel that Kurt's written is very much in the same genre as True Allegiance, in that it's a bit of speculative fiction that seems ripped from the headlines, despite being a sort of ominous dystopian future. The title of the book is People's Republic, and it takes place in a not-too-distant future in which the United States of America has collapsed and divided in between red and blue states. And the blue states are called the People's Republic, and the red states are like real America. And I want to just read now from Kurt's preface to this book. He says, quote, "This novel is not an eager fantasy of a future that I or any other sane person wants. Keep that in mind because it is a huge tell that this is exactly what he wants." And indeed, he was writing with one hand the entire time. Rather, it is a warning. It or something very like it could represent America's future if we continue down the path we have embarked upon, and we must reverse that course before it is too late. The key feature of a democratic republic is less that each participant has the capacity to win than each participant has the capacity to lose and accept loss. Again, keep that in mind. They can lose gracefully because they believe this. They have been heard that the system is fundamentally fair and not rigged. So when they lose, they accept their loss and continue to press for their preferred candidates and policies through the existing system, which is exactly what Kurt and his friends have been doing for the last decade or so.
Yeah, they would have really responded well if Trump had won the popular vote by 3 million and lost.
So again, this is not at all some kind of weird fantasy reality that Kurt eagerly hopes will happen with every fiber of his being, but is in fact a warning to America. This is a very serious book. This is like, Fahrenheit 451, or Fahrenheit 9/11 for that matter.
It sounds like Orwell's The Animal Farm, 1984. My favorite book.
Now, before I dive into to People's Republic by Kurt Schlichter, I do have to read from his acknowledgments. Which, yes. Man, when the book's acknowledgments are funny, the book is going to be awesome. So I'm reading now from the acknowledgments. Many people helped make this novel possible. Not that I'm attempting to shift blame should it turn out to be a raging dumpster fire of jumbled words and stupid ideas. In that case, the fault is entirely my own. This is another tell where if you, charmingly disarm the most obvious criticism of the book by acknowledging it up front, you are immune from its criticism. That is, the fault is entirely my own. To acknowledge the acknowledgments. Always first is hot wife, Irina Moises. He name checks his hot wife in the acknowledgments to this book.
Always be closing. Always be being cuckolded.
Hot wife Irina was there from the beginning. Actually, not from the beginning. I would not let her read it at first, but she eventually became the first reader and my primary advisor on whether I was veering entirely off the rails. Without her hard work and support, this book never would have happened. Also, thanks to blah, 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 the amazing Salty Hollywood turned my very basic idea about a cover.
What?
Anyway, and thanks, of course, I want to thank...
Salty Hollywood?
Yeah.
He thanks this... Oh, yeah, she... also, Kelly Jane Aden, again, who joined to proofread the entire manuscript, blah, blah, blah. She is a heck of a writer. Check out her latest book, The Method.
Is that about gay conversion?
And, of course, I want to thank Radio Studs... Larry O'Connor, Tony Katz, Dana Loesch, Hugh Hewitt, Derek Hunter, Ben Shapiro,
God.
Cam
All
Edwards.
those people fucked his wife.
In that order.
You guys did a great job. Ben Shapiro needed a stepladder.
He
Short folks.
lists a bunch of other people, the...
Yeah, okay, like all the heroes of the conservative blog sphere. You got the ethical pedo. You got the backgammon pervert. you got like the football dipshit. Age of consent Ron. All the big guys that you know and love from the blog sphere.
He name checks Adam Baldwin here. Felix, that's the character
that's
that you're
me.
playing. He's
Yeah.
actually congratulating Felix for playing Adam Baldwin's character on stage in our live event.
Kurt, our Patreon is actually, we have like 20 subscribers, but the other $55,000 are just all Kurt. He's a big fan of ours.
He continues here. 2 gentlemen have since passed on, also inspired me to do this work. One is Andrew Breitbart,
You dead, bitch.
whose reaction when facing the cultural gatekeepers of the left was never
Was to die on the toilet.
Nothing more need be said about the other dead guy. But he closes out the acknowledgments by saying, and of course, I want to thank every single one of my Twitter followers, currently 71,000 plus.
Oh my God.
Ukrainian sex bots, I see you.
I'd like to thank all of my 71,000 Twitter followers for being so very #caring. Kurt Schlichter, name checking his Twitter followers and the acknowledgments to his book.
Will, was this book self-published?
Yes.
See, since someone proofread it, that's
Yeah.
not what you'd get at a publishing house, right? You get an actual editor.
I don't know what imprint this came out under, whether it was Kurt House, or Schlichter Press.
Simon and Schlichter.
Penguin-shaped books.
Okay. Without any further dilly-dallying in the front matter of this book, I'm just going to read from the table of contents now. No. Chapter 1 of People's Republic. This is the Call Me Ishmael moment. The first words in this book are, stop talking.
All right, good, we're done.
All right.
Good night. No, stop talking. The young man in the passenger seat wisely did as he was told, but he kept loudly breathing in short, shallow puffs. He was
This is about me.
This is about Felix recording a podcast episode. He was scared, as he should be. Kelly Turnbull, behind the steering wheel, was merely ready, his breathing slow, but deep and steady. Turnbull stretched out the fingers of his right hand, his shooting hand. Ooh. He felt the pressure of the 6th gen Glock 19 in his belt.
Oh, yeah. 6, that's the best gen. Oh, yeah.
And 19 is the best Glock.
Yeah, it is. 19's the best Glock. Oh, God, yeah.
He mentally ran through the motions, left hand on the door handle, pushing it open, swinging out his feet as his right hand retrieved the pistol, bringing his hands to the grip, taking aim, and rapidly putting 2 9mm hollow point rounds into the faces of each of the 3 gangbangers, now staring at them from the crosswalk.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
This
It
is
sounds like he likes a gangbang.
This is the first paragraph in the book, and there are already hip-hop style thugs who don't know who they're fucking with.
They were the local gang, the Pants Saggers. Their rackets were disrespecting their elders. Saying that word, but getting other people fired for saying it. Even though if you look it up in the dictionary, it just means ignorant person.
The gangsters decided to keep walking. there weren't many cars to jack anymore on the roads outside the secure sectors. But something about this guy told them that the cost-benefit analysis of potentially grabbing a working ride versus dealing with the hard case in the driver's seat was not going to work out in their favor.
I like that they're making like a pro-con list, like the Gilmore Girls. Should we jack this car or not? I don't know.
I want to jack the hard case.
They were ready for an uncut night of crime.
Even dirtbags have intuition, and they prudently obeyed theirs.
Wait a minute. Who said stop talking and to who?
Okay, I'll explain. The setup to this scene, I don't want to read every line of it because it's fucking unbearable. But Kelly Turnbull is a former operator.
Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly Turnbull. And what he does is that he sneaks into the People's Republic, the blue states, and like shepherds out people like East Germany. So like he's got some bitch-ass kid who, we'll get to that, but so here he goes. Most of Los Angeles, he's speaking, about the past. Most of Los Angeles was prosperous then, not just the part behind the fences where the rich people now partied while everyone else fought over scraps. That sounds like
That's
LA
exactly
just now,
like it
actually.
right now.
Yeah.
Have you been to Skid Row? It's a thing.
Wait,
they
is
literally
this-
call it that.
Is this supposed to be?
This is the future.
Yeah, but but is this like does he consider Los Angeles blue or red?
It's blue. This is the blue. This is the blue state.
Okay. Okay.
On those drives, everyone had a car back then, and you could always find gas. His dad used to listen to talk radio before all radio came under fairness guidelines and morphed into straight up propaganda. Now, I've often remarked on the show that like the single hallmark of this like conservative speculative fiction, and really just all conservative writing in general, be it opinion or journalism, is that their singular inability to let go of even a single grievance or totem or conspiracy theory or anecdote. They're going to throw everything in there, and they're not going to miss any opportunity.
Fucking fairness doctrine!
Yeah, we already are having the fairness doctrine.
Oh my God, that thing that literally was never coming back. It hasn't even come close to ever coming back. Oh my God, I'm so mad.
His dad was 57 years old. You know what else was 57 when Obama said there were 57 states?
Are there 57 states in the People's Republic? Because that would own.
Yeah.
There is not.
Oh.
So it says
Bush League, Kurt.
and he goes, Turnbull distinctly remembered being right on this very same block, listening to KABC radio and hearing about how the country was about to collapse if the big banks didn't get bailed out. That was late 2008, right before Obama was first elected and things really started heading downhill.
You guys remember that?
Turnbull was what then, 12, 13? The description of this like nightmarish dystopia continues. It goes on. Here, graffiti helpfully informed passerbys about the local gangs in charge of each little bit of turf. On this block, sorry, Micah, okay. Sorry, on this block, it was the Pico Deuce 40s.
Silencing women.
And up above it all, the billboards cheered the big gang that was in charge of everything, the Blues.
Wait a minute. I thought Blue Lives Mattered. I'm confused.
The people who had been trying to kill Kelly Turnbull since the old United States broke apart. They certainly loved their propaganda. One billboard looming over an abandoned coffee shop offered a picture of a bunch of unsmiling, multi-ethnic children with their fists raised into the air. Superimposed across their chests were the words, "Freedom from hate is true freedom. Report hate mongers, deniers, and spies to your People's Bureau of Investigation." In the lower right corner lurked the People's Republic of North America's rainbow flag, or at least... or at least the one version of it. The flag kept changing as one group or another agitated to add its color to the mix, or to move its color.
Okay, that part actually is a little realistic.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I would say like overall, Kurt is a better writer than Ben Shapiro, but he believes all the same dumb shit. So it's actually like the descriptions are even funnier. The billboard had to be 6 months old because the flag had changed twice since. This month, the color of the top stripe was orange. Who or what group orange represented Turnbull neither knew or cared.
Protestants. Obviously, Protestants. I have one question, though. Kelly Turnbull, is he a bear of a man?
We have not had that description yet.
How much does he weigh in his underwear?
Rest assured.
Answer slowly.
Rest assured, he is over 6 feet tall.
Oh, God, yeah. Cut or uncut?
Turnbull glanced left through his window and observed a long line snaking out of what had been a Ralph's supermarket back some 20 yeyears ago. Little Big Lebowski reference for you there. Now, it was a people's market with trash blowing across its nearly empty parking lot. The people in the queue looked like something out of an old photo from the Great Depression. Gray, tired, sullen.
Wait, they were literally in black and white? Like, what?
That's how you tell people are sad.
Yeah. The liberals decided that colors were like inequality. They outlawed them. Kurt, this is just the plot to Roger Rabbit. Jealous?
Actually, the number of movies that he rips off in this book will be a theme that emerges. The store must have food today, said his passenger. You really don't have food lines in the flyover? He was skinny, like everyone else here who wasn't elite, and maybe 17 years old. The kid of some rich guy back in Kansas City whose wife made off with him to leverage a divorce settlement and who got caught by...
Wow.
Here we go.
Felix, reporting for duty. Sir!
Here we go.
Family court commanding officer. It always comes back to my jurisdiction, sir.
A wife made off with him to leverage a divorce settlement and who got caught behind the border when
Jesus Christ.
when the PRNA, that's the name for the California People's Republic, decided to shut it down for good. Daddy was willing to pay Turnbull's price to get him out, an especially hefty one because Mommy would certainly raise the alarm, and there's nothing the People's Bureau of Investigation liked better than catching an infiltrator. Don't call it flyover. That's going to be your country soon. It's called the United States of America.
Oh, my God.
After a moment, the kid asked, will I really have to join the army? Only if you want to be a citizen. Now stop talking.
That's Starship Trooper!
He's ripping off
Starship
He's ripping off the book and the movie Starship Troopers.
No, he's only ripping off the book.
movie.
No, because in the movie it's a bad
he's ripping off
thing.
the movie because he's never read a fucking book.
Yeah, but in the movie it's a bad thing.
Well-
the fascists are bad.
What do you think it will be
Yeah,
in this
but
book?
nobody fucking saw it that way, Matt. They don't understand irony.
That's true. Kurt certainly doesn't.
In the first years after the split, there were refugees moving in both directions as people picked a side. But soon, the flow from red to blue became a trickle, and from blue to red, a torrent. As their left-wing policies, freed of conservative obstruction, began to bear the bitter fruit they always did wherever tried. Determined not to import the same political pathologies that had ripped apart the old United States, Congress, now sitting in Dallas, amended the Constitution.
Hell yeah. The Congress is shaped like a giant 10-gallon hat.
If you had not been an adult living in the red at the time of the split and you wanted to vote to be a U.S. citizen, you had to earn the right with a tour in the military carrying a rifle.
Yeah.
There was no alternative to service, no reading stories to juvenile delinquents, no scam make-work gigs for rich kids who didn't want to soil their hands. You put on camo and served, just like a certain author of the book you're reading now. No, sorry, I just created that. And you only got citizenship if you discharged honorably after 2 years, or you got shot sooner. So yeah, Kurt definitely thinks Starship Troopers is like a cool vision of like how a utopian society would be run.
Yeah,
I'm doing my part.
Where are they fighting that they need this gigantic all-person military?
They're fighting the hippies.
They're fighting the hip-hop
Yeah.
style thugs.
Yeah.
And they're constantly getting shot. Like, yeah, you might not. make it out.
Well, in the future, No Limit Records is it's actually a country, and we have to fight them.
Here's some more.
The third pants war about pulling up your pants. Many good men gave their lives that day for dressing like a gentleman, not a gangster.
Here's some more just color from this hellhole. There were plenty of buses, of course. He remarks about how there are no cars anymore and how terrible that is. But he says, there are plenty of buses, wheezing, dirty buses, driven by unionized drivers who answered to no one and ran on their own personal schedules.
Hell yeah. That sounds kind of cool.
Here's some more like propaganda. It says, on the side was a tattered banner depicting an angry woman of ambiguous ethnicity.
The worst kind.
Naturally,
There's me.
with her fist in the air, under the words imposed, women, spelled with a Y, will smash sexism, racism, and denial. It was remarkable how a nation so focused on rooting out what it called bigotry under various labels always seemed to uncover more and more of it lurking inside itself.
Ooh. Got him.
Just a little bit more. His weapons ready to rock if need be. Hopefully there would be no need. Not that shooting blues made much difference to him. His time in Indian country had disabused him of any illusions.
Wait, what?
What?
Wait.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait a minute. What?
Wait.
He
Indians?
calls California, that's Indian country.
Oh,
this is
okay.
army slang. If you were, you know.
Oh, I see. The thing where you dehumanize people
Yeah.
by referring to them as an ethnic group that we genocided. I get
So basically the rich kid who's like a pussy and like doesn't know about real America that he's shepherding out of this nightmare, his cell phone goes off and he's like, I thought I told you to get rid of your fucking cell phone, you idiot. And Kurt says here, trusting a civilian not to be stupid was a bad bet. The kid looked at the caller ID. It's my mom. Don't answer it, Turnbull said. He throws the cell phone out the window because they don't want to be tracked. Why did you do that? The kid asked petulant. It's got my address book. I don't even know my mom's number. I just hit the favorite.
Oh my God. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but like that's such just a cranky old person thing. I love that. But I talked about this book that the friend of my that I know of called Devil's Playground, the self-published insane book about the PLO destroying America's energy grid. That's the one where the guy said that the Shia were like the super Muslims, basically. And the guy said like 4 times in the course of this book, when describing how Americans were totally like destroyed by losing electricity, he said over and over again, he said, the only thing Americans at this point knew how to make were reservations.
Ooh.
And he did it like 5 times. That's so Kurt.
So Kelly Turnbull berates this idiot kid for bringing his cell phone. The kid's eyes welled with tears. Apparently, mommy had never let her magical unicorn child in on the fact that he was a numbskull. Turnbull.
Is that really what you should do?
Yeah.
As a parent, is that a responsibility of an active parent?
Sorry to take away your safe space, son.
Chelsea
You're a
Clinton
fucking
calls her
moron.
children a
Child.
numbskull
Triggered?
every day.
Look, kid, you're a fucking moron. I love you.
Turnbull pitied the kid's drill sergeant, assuming the kid had the stones to volunteer. What's going on here? You know, they're trying to get out of the city. They run into some trouble. He talks about how after the split, of course, guns were outlawed for law-abiding citizen, and now it says, narking out formerly lawful gun owners was a traditional profit center for lowlifes after the split. They got a few bucks, and the gun owners got stuck in the prisons the new government had emptied of the real criminals. So it goes on, you know, there's a whole bit about gas rationing that's interminable. Then they get in trouble with the Blues. These are like the new police officers. It said, the Blues cruiser stopped maybe 20 feet behind them and idled for a moment, but not long enough to run his plates. Both occupants got out, approaching by moving up each side simultaneous, in some semblance of the proper tactical template for stopping an unknown driver.
Worthy adversary.
They did not seem afraid or even cautious. They were almost arrogant as they came forward. Turnbull could not get a good look at the one on the passenger side, but in the mirror he could see the neck tats of the one moving up on the side. The PNRA was still hiring the cream of the crop, Turnbull noted.
The only acceptable tattoos for police officers are fatherland in Fractor across your forearm.
The People's Republic decided that it needed to run the police force centrally and incorporated the local sheriffs and police departments into a national police force, originally called the People's Internal Security Squads. When it became obvious that acronym would not work, it became the PSF, the People's Security Force. Did you catch that little joke that Kurt did there?
Wait a minute, hold on a minute. Hold on. You got a pen? Wait a minute. Say it again. What is it? What are the words? What is it? People's what?
P-I-S.
S?
S.
Oh my God.
Oh my God,
my
Kurt,
God.
you devil.
Cops were the key villains in the left's rogues gallery, and most police officers and deputies quickly saw the writing on the wall and left, headed to the red states before the borders closed. That left just a few professionals to address a lot of crime, from freed prisoners and the refugees fleeing the welfare reforms in the red states.
That's a nice word for mass sterilization.
Yeah.
Also, so does this mean like literally every cop in America lives in the blue-red states
Yeah,
now? Like,
yeah.
I'm assuming that means that, like what do they got to do? Like, there's too many cops now. Do they just all like police each other?
Yeah, they're just always walking up on each other, like asking the other if they're detaining them.
Am I being detained? Has released like goodbye and hello
Yeah.
in the red states. Am I being detained?
Being detained, okay.
I'm being detained. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm
Not
being detained.
So they get into trouble with these gangster police officers. Turnbull shut his eyes for a moment, ran through his plan, and then opened the door slowly, pushing it all the way out. The cop stepped back a bit, but not far enough. Turnbull stood up to his full 6'3" height.
Hell
Bear
yeah,
of a man.
dude.
Bear of a
Hell
man.
yeah.
There we go, baby. Yeah.
There are no manlets in real America.
Deliberately and smoothly, doing nothing to spook them until his left hand shot back, grabbed the cop's utility belt, and pulled the stunned thug forward and around into the V between the door and the body of the Ford. As Turnbull drove his full weight into the pseudo-cop to pin him, he drew the Glock with his right hand, swung it into the passenger compartment. It roared twice inside the car, the hollow point round streaking over the kid and into the chest of the other pseudo-cop's body armor.
yeah.
He staggered backwards.
Penetrate him.
Oh, that's good.
Turnbull pivoted and brought the pistol out and up under the pinned one's chin. Yeah. The pinned one felt it and knew he was screwed, but his self-critique ended a half-second later as Turnbull put a round up through his jaw, tongue, and soft palate into his brain.
What that thumb do?
You gotta make sure you get every bit of the skull.
The pseudo-cop sagged and collapsed like a bag of warm, wet meat.
Oh,
Oh.
So,
oh yeah.
so that was that's chapter 1.
Did everybody come? Are we all good?
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh,
came?
man.
Are we feeling a bit randy? Okay. I want chapter 2 I'm going to be a little bit quicker with, but I'm reading it because now you get in chapter 2 the view from the other side, the view from the new red United States of America. So Kelly Turnbull is back in the new capital, Dallas, and he says, the city was a living thing, humming, alive with people on the sidewalks and cars filling the streets and freeways. I love that that's like that's the key sign of like if you're living in a free country is just traffic.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like cars for conservatives are like trains for socialists.
Every car is a cop car. They're all pulling each other over.
Yeah.
No one's getting anywhere.
Yeah. Everyone has bumper stickers. It's like, my son is an operator. And my son is a prison guard. My son got put on 2 weeks paid leave for shooting an unarmed suspect. That's the most respected bumper sticker in the red states.
So he says, to the north, the new Capitol complex was gleaming in the sunlight. The new White House lay a mile away at the other end of the mall. This was the nerve center of the United States of America, version 2.0. Turnbull did not feel much more at ease here than on the other side, but then no one was trying to kill him here, so there was that. Still, he openly carried a Kimber 1911 45 for his long trip
God,
into
the
town.
Kimber's
That's the best
one.
Kimber.
I love the Kimber. Love the Kimber. Oh my God.
Security took his phone downstairs, but made no attempt to disarm him.
Fuck yeah.
You don't mess with a man's weapons in the USA. That's how fistfights and civil wars start. What I love about
Nothing other than those two things. Fist fight, Civil War. Nothing in the middle.
What I love about this element here in Kurt's, like, now this is his utopian society, is one in which his stand-in character basically still feels so afraid in the capital city that he needs to carry a gun with him into a fucking office building.
Yeah, it's heaven.
So basically, he goes into this giant office building and meets like the richest man in New America, George V. Ryan, who was looking tall, handsome, and probably 55-ish. And a young man in good shape, probably a recent military,
bear of
judging
a
by
man?
his hair and general
Is he
demeanor.
a bear of a man?
He looked a little bit like Ryan, probably his son. So this is sort of like
He's
a
a cub of a
daddy Dom thing.
Yeah,
here.
he's a cub of a man.
So basically, Turnbull, George Ryan, the richest man in New America, is like, I got a mission for you, Turnbull. You got to go back into the blues and rescue my daughter. And again, this is just ripping off Escape from L.A., point by point, plot point by plot point. And he's talking about Turnbull's resume here.
I love it when characters explain to other characters what they did. That's the best.
Yeah.
This is my favorite part. You were part of Operation Megiddo. What was that?
Megiddo.
It's the Bible thing.
Yeah, the Bible. You were part of Operation Megiddo. I don't know anything about that, Turnbull said, glancing toward Clay with a frown. That would be classified anyway. I read that the Israelis took out the Iranian nukes all by themselves. Your researchers shouldn't believe everything they read on the internet. Of course, said Ryan, continuing. Now, you grew up in California, so you know it well. After the split, you made a lot of runs back over the line before you left government service. And he's like, no, I don't want to go back. And there's this whole back and forth. He's like, it has to be now. Get my daughter. My daughter Amanda is over there, Mr. Turnbull, in the middle of coming chaos we can barely imagine. How did that happen? She defected. She did not defect, interrupted the young man. She's just confused. Mr. Turnbull, this is my son, George Jr. His twin sister is Amanda. They were close.
George W. Ryan.
Yeah.
then.
George chose to do his military service after college, and Amanda went to UT in Austin and then stayed for grad school.
Mistake.
Unfortunately, not all of the progressives picked up and headed to the coast after the split. Some stayed here, especially at universities, and they are like a cancer. They spread their lies, and some people like Amanda get taken in. She decided that all this prosperity and freedom is immoral. She believed that the People's Republic was some kind of paradise, so she left. As you know now, we don't keep anyone in, we keep them out. She and some friends crossed over a year ago, and we had no idea what happened until my sources started telling me she was appearing in PR propaganda. So he goes,
that's literally Escape from L.A. This is bullshit.
this is the exact movie from Escape from L.A., yeah. So he goes, you have to take George Jr. with you. He can handle himself. He's a full-blood citizen. Does that line not chill you a little bit?
I'd feel very secure in a country that's talked about
Bluten
blood
Boden.
citizens
It's good.
in both capital letters.
They negotiate a fee to do this, and he says, I'll do it if you pay me $5 million. And he goes, agreed, but there are conditions.
No fiat currency.
Listen to this. You will take
Bitcoin only.
You will take George Jr. with you, and if you did not recover her relatively intact, you forfeit the remaining $4 million.
Hyman, right?
Hyman,
That's what he meant.
relatively intact.
We will be checking the bed sheets.
Relatively intact, okay. But I have my conditions too. First, I take Junior here to the range tomorrow and decide whether I'm willing to have him tag along. If I do, Junior understands that the chain of command is me, then him. He does what I say.
I get to fuck her first, and then he fucks his sister.
He does what I say when I say it, and we'll be all good. People's Republic.
I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, that is the first two chapters of Kurt Schlichter's People's Republic, rounding out the Littlefield special Shining reading series.